Chapter 5, Planning and Decision Making, Principles of Management. Benefits of planning include intensified effort. Research shows that one with a specific plan will work harder because they understand what it is needed to reach their goal. Second, planning leads to persistence, which is working hard for long periods of time. Planning encourages persistence even when there may be little chance of short-term success. The third benefit of planning is direction. Plans encourage managers and employees to direct their persistent efforts toward activities that help accomplish their goals and away from activities that do not. The fourth benefit of planning is that it allows people to create task strategies. Planning encourages people to come up with better ways to do their job. The first pitfall of planning is that planning can create a false sense of certainty. Companies sometimes may plan their future but have no idea what the future holds for the company, because all plans are based on assumptions. This then creates a false sense of certainty in companies or businesses. The second pitfall of planning is that it impedes change and adaptation. The third pitfall of planning is detachment of planners, which means that those who are making the plans don't always understand the process of what needs to happen. So with them being detached, plans don't always work out the way that they were intended to. When setting goals, one strategy to follow is the SMART guidelines. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. This is a proven method for achieving the results that one seeks when creating a goal. According to Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, a goal without a plan is just a wish. When considering our goal planning, we should keep this in mind. Without determination, our goals will never be achieved. Another step in planning is to develop an effective action plan. An action plan lists the specific steps, people, resources, and time period needed to attain a goal. The fourth step in planning is to track progress toward goal achievement. There are two effective methods of tracking progress. The first method is to set proximal and distal goals. Proximal goals are short-term goals or sub-goals, and distal goals are long-term or primary goals. The second method of tracking progress is to gather and provide performance feedback. One method of maintaining flexibility while planning is to adopt an options-based approach. The goal of options-based planning is to keep options open by making small, simultaneously investments in many alternative plans. Top management is responsible for developing long-term strategic plans that make clear how the company will serve customers and position itself against competitors in the future. Strategic planning begins with the creation of an organizational purpose or a purpose statement. Middle management is responsible for developing and carrying out tactical plans to accomplish the organization's strategic objectives. Lower level managers are responsible for developing and carrying out operational plans, which are the day-to-day plans. The first step in decision making is identifying the problem. The second step is identify decision criteria. Decision criteria is the standards that are used to guide judgments and decisions. The next step is to weigh the criteria to figure out what is more or less important. Next, you think of alternative courses of actions that could solve your problem. Then you evaluate each alternative to figure out the pros and cons of each. The final step in the decision-making process is to make your final decision after rating each of the criteria from least to most important. There are two important advantages of group decision-making, one being that more information is available when having several people. There are also more alternative solutions because there is more than one person coming up with a solution. There are also disadvantages of group decision-making, one being groupthink, which occurs sometimes in groups where members feel pressured to agree with each other instead of forming their own opinions. Another disadvantage would be that it is very time-consuming. Having to set up a time and place that everyone in the group can meet at, as well as being productive in each meeting. A third disadvantage would be that sometimes a person in the group may try to dominate the group discussion by not allowing other members to include their opinion or make any of the decisions. C-type conflict stands for cognitive conflict. It focuses on the problem and issue-related differences of an opinion. There are two types of C-type conflict approaches that were explained in this chapter: the devil's advocacy and the dialectical inquiry process. The devil's advocacy approach has 5 steps. The first step is to generate a potential solution. Then you assign a devil's advocate to criticize and question the solution. Next, you present the critique of the potential solution to key decision makers. Fourth, you gather additional relevant information. Lastly, you decide whether to use, change, or not use the originally proposed solution. The dialectical inquiry process also has 5 steps. First, you generate a potential solution. Second, you identify the assumptions underlying the potential solution. Next, you generate a conflicting counterproposal based on the opposite assumptions. Next, you have advocates of each position present their arguments and engage in a debate in front of key decision makers. Last, you decide whether to use, change, or not use the originally proposed solution. A-type conflict means affective conflict, which refers to the emotional reactions that can occur when disagreements become personal. A-type conflict often results in anger and hostility between individuals. Nominal group technique begins by letting members do stuff independently by writing down as many problems and solutions that they may have. After that, they share with each other some of their own ideas. The Delphi technique is a decision-making method in which members of a panel of experts respond to questions and to each other until agreeing on an issue. There are 3 steps to the Delphi technique. The first is to assemble a panel of experts. Second, create a questionnaire. And lastly, analyze, summarize, and get feedback from written responses. Brainstorming is a decision-making method where group members build on each other's ideas to generate as many alternative solutions as possible. Brainstorming has 4 rules. The first rule is the more ideas, the better. Second, all ideas are acceptable, no matter how wild or crazy they might seem. Third, other group members' ideas should be used to come up with even more ideas. And last, criticism or evaluations of ideas are not allowed. Electronic brainstorming has a few disadvantages. Production blocking is the first one, which occurs when a member has an idea they want to share but cannot because another member is presenting their own idea. Second is evaluation apprehension, which occurs when members are afraid to say something in fear of what the other members will think or say in response to their original idea. Third, some individuals find it easier to express themselves verbally rather than electronically, so that could decrease some ideas they originally had. Last, and most importantly, most people are better typists than others, which may be a disadvantage to the members that type slow or cannot type at all. I chose Chapter 5, Planning and Decision Making, because I believe that planning is an extremely important mechanism to ensure if you want to be successful in any business. Decision making is also important because if someone doesn't make the decision, then nothing will be accomplished.